liftoff. Amazon's Jeff Bezos says he's launching himself into space. It's happening next month. Why the billionaire founder says he's taking the rocket ride. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And happy Monday again, Northeast Ohio. It is so good to be with you. Thanks for choosing What's New. I hope everyone had a terrific weekend. Alongside Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Betsy, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon to you.
Good weekend?
Good weekend.
Nice.
Warm weekend.
Hot.
Hot, muggy Monday. I'll tell you what, things are not going to be changing all that much as we go through the week ahead. Matt Wins is going to be along a little bit more of the latest look at the radar and the numbers that it still feels a whole lot like summer for now. But first at 5 today, a Cleveland Clinic study is stirring some confusion and controversy regarding whether those who have already been infected with COVID-19 really need to get vaccinated.
Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, joins us now to sort all of this out. Monica, like so much of the information that we've been sharing over the last year, it's always changing.
Yeah, well, it's a new virus. I mean, we're constantly learning about this. And yeah, there's a Cleveland Clinic study that's making the rounds right now. It has yet to be published or peer reviewed, but it brings into question whether natural immunity is as good as being vaccinated in some cases. So researchers followed more than 52,000 clinic employees for 5 months. More than 1,300 of those employees had been infected with COVID previously and did not get vaccinated. The study found that none of them who already had the virus and did not get vaccinated were reinfected. Their conclusion, individuals who have laboratory confirmed symptomatic COVID infection are unlikely to benefit from vaccination, and vaccines can be safely prioritized to those who have not been infected before. So are they really saying those who have natural immunity don't need a vaccine?
What we don't know, and this is true for vaccine and not natural infection, what's the duration of that protection? And also remember, our population of healthcare workers, it's younger in general, it's healthier and no kids. So, you're immunosuppressed. So we're not saying, I don't want to say, don't get the vaccine.
Yeah, so this study only pertains to those who had a positive PCR test, not those who think they might have had COVID. Those who were unvaccinated and not infected, though, as you can imagine, had sky-high infection rates. Other studies have also indicated natural immunity does offer some protection. The problem, there's no way to know how much protection you actually have. Dr. Gordon says there's no antibody test available right now that gives us an accurate answer. So, bottom line, the CDC and Cleveland Clinic is saying that if you have had COVID and you want to be vaccinated, by all means, go get vaccinated.
Can't hurt.
No, it cannot hurt. But for those who have had COVID and they're just sort of on the fence, this may buy them a little bit of time. But bottom line, talk to your doctor about your options.
So are they going to keep monitoring and checking on the duration of this natural immunity?
Yeah, absolutely. They're talking about they may repeat their study in a few months to test those who did not get vaccinated to see if any of them develop COVID again. And again, this doesn't change anything for those who've had COVID and still want to get vaccinated. That's fine. But it is really good info for those countries that may have a vaccine shortage, because now they can prioritize vaccines to those who have not been infected. And remember, when this study came out, we had a vaccine shortage.
Sure.
So that's why they were looking at this.
All right. Very good. Monica, thanks.
Sure.
Well, a Cleveland woman was sentenced today for 3 separate hit-and-run incidents. You may remember this story. It happened last year. 4 people and a dog were hit on 3 separate days in Bay Village and Westlake. Prosecutors say cell phone data and GPS information actually allowed investigators to map out Shyla Harris's route, which showed that she circled the area multiple times. Victim impact statements were read during her sentencing today.
I just don't believe that this was an accident. I mean, you just don't drive in your car, drive 20, 30 minutes away from where you live to the same cities, same area, multiple times.
Harris also addressed the court, offering an apology and asking for a second chance. Harris pleaded guilty to the charges. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison.
Well, now on your feed at 5, have you seen this around the social media channels today? Tower City Center was closed as a result of a major water pipe that burst, sending thousands of gallons of water raining down from the 12th floor through apartments into the shopping area below, and it caused major damage. Brandon Simmons spoke to tenants and employees who captured some of these incredible videos this morning.
This is not what employees expected to see as they arrived for work at Tower City.
That was the clearest sign that I should have worked from home.
Water pouring from the ceilings, coming down the stairwells and elevator shafts. Enough water to cause Tower City Center to close for the day.
It went from leaking, a little bit messy, to this is a torrential downpour in like 20 minutes.
Andrew Shriver captured this video showing water pouring from the ceiling and light fixtures above, a problem one resident named Tim experienced in his apartment.
And it sounded like somebody was taking a shower, but I live alone. So I'm like, that's weird. So I go in the bathroom and there's water coming in from the light fixtures.
He also heard water coming from the closet, but when he went in the hallway, he found things were much worse. A 6-inch water line for the sprinkler system had burst, sending water pouring down from the 12th floor above.
Like, I never expected to have to deal with flooding on the 7th floor, you know, like.
The tower portion of Tower City is owned by K&D Group. A spokesperson says the pipe that burst was brand new, installed as part of the renovation for new apartments that was completed in early 2020. Right now, the company is working to get the water cleaned up with help from disaster recovery companies, a process that should be done by the end of the day. But that's just the beginning, as the underlying damage still needs to be assessed.
I have water coming in through my, like, electrical, like, light fixtures. I'm afraid to, like, plug stuff in, like, flip switches, and, like, I kind of want to get a hold of somebody to know what's going on.
Now, obviously, you could see by that video, that's really amazing that that amount of water came from that pipe all the way up on the 12th floor. Residents here are allowed to get back into their apartments right now. However, they, along with the property owner, K&D, they're all frustrated that a new pipe, Betsy, was able to burst like this and cause this type of trouble.
It definitely raises a lot of questions. I'll certainly grant them that. And when you see the video, when he opens the door and it's like a waterfall coming down what I assume is a stairwell, obviously these are some very, very major problems. And I'd have to guess, Brandon, this is going to cost some pretty major bucks to get it fixed up, too.
Again, that's what we're still going to be looking at. It's the electrical stuff underneath. It's the plaster. Remember, a lot of stuff in Tower City is still older and some of it even original. So we don't know how much it's going to cost yet and how much maybe insurance will cover. But we know it'll be a long process getting everything back to what they would consider to be normal. It
is one of Cleveland's most amazing landmarks. So hopefully everything will come out all right for it. Thanks, Brandon. We'll see you again at 6.
Wow. College athletics is about to make a dramatic pivot, and it's coming whether most athletes are aware of it or not. Here's the way it's going to work. It will soon be legal for student athletes to make money off their personal images. This has long been forbidden, and it is a long time coming. In fact, the actual time frame for when this change will take effect actually varies by state. According to the Ohio Capitol Journal, beginning July 1st, athletes in 5 states, which include Georgia and Florida, will be allowed to profit off of their images. Another 11 states, including Michigan, have statutes that are poised to kick in very soon. Also, in case you're wondering about Ohio, a bill is working its way through the Ohio legislature right now that would allow college athletes in the Buckeye State to be able to monetize their likeness. Also involved in this, the Supreme Court is expected to rule later this month on a case that could further change the rules, currently excluding players from profiting off images. One of the problems here is, and this is a big problem, there is no uniformity. So I told you already, schools in 5 states beginning the 1st of July will be allowed to do this. 11 other states are following soon. States that have this on the books will have a huge advantage when it comes to recruiting.
That's the first thing I thought of. If you're a highlight student, if you're a standout, and you have the opportunity to go to a place where you're going to make money, or you have somebody sitting in your living room like, all right, you can't make the money, but we really value your input in our program.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and that's why Ohio is right on the heels of these other states, because you can only imagine Ohio State makes a lot of money annually on its football program. And you could only imagine if it was losing athletes to Florida, Georgia, and especially Michigan.
That's the first one that I thought of.
Me too, because those states allow it. and Ohio does not. You'll remember Ohio State ran into some trouble about a decade ago when some of its players were making money selling their images against NCAA rules. Now, all of that will be legal. And I would say I think it's a long time coming. They should be able to make money off of their image.
They're putting the work in.
They own it. Okay, ahead on What's New, the incredible career, and I do mean incredible, career of Simone Biles reaches yet another milestone, puts her in a class all by herself. Wait till you hear what she has done now.
I just marvel at what she does on the floor and all those events. Well, we're also going to be remembering actor Clarence Williams III ahead in our pop break.
And Matt Wentz is going to be along with the look at our forecast. Matt, I got stuck in a downpour today. It was raining pretty good.
Yeah, we were raining cats and dogs in spots, Jay. I'll tell you, that was few and far between this afternoon. It was more the early afternoon we saw that wave go through, and now things just kind of scattered around here. Live look at CSU cam right now. Those clouds are summer-like out there. The one thing you can't see, the humidity. That is going to stick around in our forecast. We've got more storms around as well. Your outdoor dining forecast tonight? Well, if you're dodging the downpours, you're okay, but if you're inside, much better. We'll have that forecast for you coming up.
Well, it's our final week of Save Our Sauce, and we're highlighting Lorain County, starting with Chez Francois. This is the hoity-toity place that if you have a special event, this is where you go. It sits on the banks of the Vermilion River and knows how to nail fine dining. Doug Tratner has a full Lorain list at WKYC.com/Save Our Sauce. Oui, oui.
Simone Biles is going to need another trophy case. She might need another house to put all of her trophies. She's at it again, breaking records. The Olympic gymnast won her 7th straight U.S. gymnastics title last night. That's the most consecutive titles, the most for any woman, and it ties the overall record, which was set way back in 1933. She is perfection.
She does these crazy things, and then she just walks off like, yeah, it's okay.
Nailed it.
Well, the 24-year-old has won every all-around event that she's entered since 2013. Everyone. That includes the gold at the 2016 Olympics. Now, there's still no doubt she is going to be the biggest story in Tokyo next month.
But the question that she's going to face is just how much more can she do? And the answer may come from how high she can go while doing it. Here's NBC's Jimmy Roberts.
The time is now for Simone Biles.
Simone Biles' performance in the 2016 Rio Olympics cemented her legacy as an icon in her sport.
It's Simone's party and everyone else is just a guest. Oh!
Incredible.
She sets herself apart because she makes everything look so easy.
I feel like even now, I don't understand the full capacity of what I did at the Rio Olympic Games. I think it won't hit me till I'm maybe retired from the sport, which is crazy.
In that single Games, Biles won more Olympic gymnastics gold medals than any previous American woman.
This has been her destiny all along.
It didn't feel real. We had trained so hard, but in that moment, it kind of felt like a fairy tale.
Fairy tales are for kids. Biles stepped away from the sport. She wrote a book, took a turn at Dancing with the Stars, and wondered how her gymnastics story could get any better than what had already been.
To be completely honest, I was terrified to come back because I thought I hit the top of what I was capable of.
In her remarkable run since returning, Biles is putting her stamp on the sport with moves so uniquely difficult, they're being named after her, including the buzzworthy triple-double, now called the Biles 2.
Sometimes going into it, I'm like, don't bail, you'll literally die. Like, you will break something.
Simone's got enough gold medals at home. Someone give this girl a crown.
Up to my shoulder.
Wow.
I was just showing Jay a picture. Simone Biles was here to play in the celebrity softball game at the MLB All-Star game.
Right.
Back in, what was that, 2018?
18, I think.
Yeah. And I got my picture with her, and she only came up to my shoulder.
Yeah,
it
she's
was
like,
kind of ridiculous.
Stand next to her, she's like a child.
Yeah.
But boy, is she good.
Oof, she's amazing.
Man.
Remember, everybody, the Tokyo Olympics begin July 23rd. We're so excited about it. And, of course, you'll be able to watch it all right here on NBC.
The incredible thing about her is in her sport, at the age of 20, most athletes, particularly in women's gymnastics, have peaked. She has been dominant, not just past 20, but well into her 20s. And I'll go so far as to say this. In the last decade, I don't think there has been any athlete in any sport that has been as dominant as Simone Biles has been in hers.
I will agree. And
it's unbelievable.
The sad part is we don't get to see her consistently. A lot of times it's just these snapshots and, you know, for the Olympics, but just an incredible athlete. And she's just as sweet as can be and
very humble.
So nice to talk to.
Yep.
Very cool, certainly.
Good luck to her.
You know who else is so nice to talk to?
Well, one of the nicest guys I know.
Absolutely. That'd be Matt Wentz.
I love his weather word today. I wanted to go something with the gymnastics theme.
Yeah.
And I went with dismount. I don't know how in the world that fits into a weather forecast, but I bet he nails it. I bet he sticks the landing.
Bet I don't. I'm still training for the Olympics coming up, and that is not going to happen in the forecast. I'll throw it in there, though, somehow. Guys, real sticky today. Boy, what a difference yesterday. The weekend was hot, right? But then we added the humidity today, and it's just tropical outside. It's sultry, and a lot of people can take the heat. We're in Ohio. We get these changing seasons. That's the fun part. But the humidity, that's when, obviously, if you're outdoors doing some work, obviously that's when things start to get a little tricky. We've had showers and thunderstorms. You can tell in the air mass, very heavy today. We had some showers and storms and a line that moved from southwest to northeast. That's long gone. We've kind of cleared things out. We do have some stray peaks of some sunshine out there, some blue skies down towards the south. But look off towards the west, we've got more storms building in right now. Not a lot of thunder and lightning with these, but we do have a couple lightning strikes. You're enough to keep things indoors. You see the rain that fell, anywhere from half an inch, even a couple reports of close to an inch. Areas of Geauga County out of round one. This is round two now. heading towards the islands. This one going to avoid Sandusky. This is heading up over the lake right now, but areas of Port Clinton, Put in Bay going to see some very heavy downpours here shortly. Again, should stay north of Cedar Point. Down to the south, doesn't look like much now, but we're going to keep our eye on this portion of northeast Ohio this evening. We've got another wave of energy coming through. I would imagine we get some storms this evening, Worcester over towards the Mansfield area, so we'll watch those hopefully fade as sunset goes. But look at this. This is a tropical air mass from here all the way down towards Florida. It's a very Floridian pattern. Reason why we've got an elongated, kind of broad area of low pressure. And that is just pinwheeling this moisture from the south. So we're literally taking the Gulf of Mexico, placing it over northeast Ohio. And you can tell dew points in the 70s. That's about as thick as it gets this time of year around here. And it's going to stay there. The muggy meter this week, we're going to stay in the humid category all the way through Friday. Looks like we may get some relief later on the weekend. We'll have to hold true to see if that stays in the forecast. But overall, tonight, very sultry. We're back into the 70s. Couple storm chances early, not for everyone. These are going to be very scattered this evening. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Well, if you're planning on dismounting a horse this evening, it's going to be a slippery ride down with all that humidity. We've got temperature. What? Jake, you need to make these words easier. You're getting trickier. Tomorrow morning, maybe some fog around. Notice what happens heating of the day, just like in Florida. Those clouds will bubble up. We'll have those stray downpours around here. Most of it should fade after sunset. Could see some heavier downpours in the mix. Look at how much rain this week, perhaps 1 to 2 inches. Thunderstorms don't distribute that rain evenly, but you can see as we go through time, this is what the map's going to look like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. More of the same. Nothing really changes this week. We could use the rain. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 80s, all dependent if we get that sunshine or the rain the next couple days. The weather pattern changes this weekend, though. Saturday and Sunday, that's when we bring in drier skies, temps back into the 70s and 80s. I'm going to go dismount this weather green screen and head back to the weather
You're
center.
such a good sport, Matt.
Awful.
Is this more of that goldfish humidity that you mentioned last week?
Yeah. Be careful if you're getting off a horse tonight. It's going to be slippery.
We got to work on these. Actually, they're kind of amazing how you do that.
Oh, I love how he fits
mad
them in.
respect,
Take it
my
away.
friend. All right, thanks a lot, Matt. We'll check in with you again next half hour. Next for us here on What's New, Alicia Silverstone is officially on TikTok, and her first video pays tribute to her most popular role, Cher, in the movie Clueless.
Then, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 bears decide to take over a pool. It's awesome, and it's ahead in our Worth the Watch. I promise it'll make you smile.
Good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Had a panic attack at work, but that was
Oh, welcome back, everybody. It's time for your Monday edition of Pop Break. Here's our Kiara Cotton with all the biggest stories out of Hollywood.
We begin today with sad news, as the entertainment industry is mourning the loss of actor Clarence Williams III. Throughout his decades-long career, Williams appeared on Broadway and starred in several movies and TV shows, including The Mod Squad, Purple Rain, American Gangster, and most recently, Lee Daniels' The Butler. The longtime actor passed away Friday at his home in Los Angeles after battling colon cancer. Clarence Williams III was 81 years old. Switching gears now to a blast from the past. Alicia Silverstone made her TikTok debut over the weekend, and of course, it was in true Clueless fashion. Dressed in her now iconic yellow plaid blazer, Silverstone recreated the as-if moment with her 9-year-old son, Bear. Silverstone jokingly captioned the video, as if I wouldn't join TikTok. The video that ends with the two sharing a hug and a kiss has nearly 7 million likes and over 140,000 comments. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have welcomed their new bundle of joy. The couple welcomed daughter, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, Friday at 11:40 a.m. The couple, who plans to call their baby girl Lily, shared the news on their website saying, "She is more than we could have ever imagined. We remain grateful for the love and prayers we felt from across the globe." Lily was named after Queen Elizabeth, whose family nickname is Lilibet, and Diana honors her late grandmother, the Princess of Wales. According to a statement, Meghan and baby Lily are healthy and well and settling in at home. And last but certainly not least, Westlake native Logan Paul took on Floyd Money Mayweather last night. And while there was no winner declared, social media certainly had a blast. Now, social media has been getting into celebrities jumping into the boxing ring.
Big time.
Who would you guys like to see in the ring next?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
I would go with Jack Black, reprising his role as Nacho Libre. That was one of my favorites.
And he'd have to wear the costume.
When he's like dancing around the ring.
Yeah, that would, there's a ton of money in that. In fact, Mayweather now says that even though he's never going to box again professionally, he wants to stream more events and promote more of these events because, as Jake has proven, there's millions in this. And by the way, in case you were wondering and you needed someone to tell you, Mayweather won the fight.
Absolutely.
There was absolutely no doubt.
It was more of a hugging match, don't you think?
I do. I think it was like, bro love. Nobody wanted to embarrass the other, but his career continues. Jake's career continues, amazingly. Thanks, Kira.
Yeah.
All right, I saw this over the weekend, and I couldn't wait to share it. It is just adorable. It's our Monday Worth to Watch. We're going to call it 4 Bears on a Hot Day in a Swimming Pool.
Do not swallow my goggles. I just noticed my goggles and I was like, do not swallow my goggles, please. Those are my only clear ones that I brought.
Now, how adorable is this video? If you just imagine it for a second, this could be 4 young children playing in a pool.
They are 4 young children.
They're 4 cubs just enjoying their first experience in a wet, heated body of water.
It looked like there was a hot tub next to them that they were like, oh, yeah, that's too warm. Let's go in the cold water. Really?
Yeah, and quickly got out. This isn't for me.
And I love the little boy. Not my goggles. They're the only clear goggles I brought.
It's great. And it certainly was worth the watch. Sweet. Fun stuff.
All right, coming up for all of us here on the next half hour of What's New, in our Money Monday segment, we're going to talk about why the price of used and new cars are surging and how long this is expected to last.
Then the Seidman Cancer Center is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Our Jim Donovan was one of its first patients. He's going to tell us what it was like, what he was going through when he walked through those doors.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And we begin at 5:30 with three things you need to know. A Cleveland woman sentenced to prison for a string of hit and runs that occurred last year. Shayla Harris will spend between 9 and 13 and a half years in prison for hitting 4 people and 2 dogs on 3 different days. The incidents happened in Bay Village and Westlake. Today, prosecutors presented cell phone data and GPS information showing that Harris swerved at her victims and then returned to look at them once they had been hit. She did apologize in court.
In downtown Cleveland, a massive water line break forced Tower City to close today. Authorities say a 6-inch water line for the sprinkler system burst on the 12th floor. That ended up sending a cascade of thousands of gallons of water all the way down to the lobby. A spokesperson for the tower portion of the building says the pipe was brand new and installed for new apartments last year. The company is getting everything cleaned up inside the landmark, and it all should be done by the end of the day. RTA rail service was not impacted.
And it's official. Goodyear completed its acquisition of Cooper Tire and Rubber Company. Reports earlier this year stated that the deal was valued at $2.5 billion. The Akron-based company says this strengthens their leading position in the U.S. and other North American markets. So big news there. And with that, we welcome you back to What's New. Thanks so much for sticking around. I'm Jay Crawford along with Betsy Kling. Thanks for sharing part of your Monday afternoon with us.
That's right. Another beautiful day here in Tampa, Ohio, where we have been enjoying the heat
it feels like.
And the humidity. Oy, it is nasty out there, isn't it? But it's not even summer yet, everybody. Our official summer countdown continues. We are now at T-minus 13 days until the official start to the new season. So we are very excited about that, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it here for a while, but I mean, summer, it feels like it's here. It really felt like summer today because it was hot. You could see the storm building. Mm-hmm. It poured down rain and then it cooled off. That feels like a summer pattern. And that's exactly what it feels like in Tampa, Florida.
Which probably only means that, now it's hot and nasty. And by the end of the month, when summer actually begins, it'll probably be in the 60s. And everybody will be complaining it's supposed to be summer and,
Then we'll anxiously be counting down the beginning of fall.
True.
Before you know it, it will be here.
Absolutely true. Let's get things going, shall we? It is Monday here on What's New, and everyone is noticing prices on just about everything seem to be going up. And this includes automobiles now. Factories closed in the height of the pandemic. That caused a shortage of key parts for building those new cars, so there have been fewer new cars available. In turn, there has been a spike in used car prices, and those price tags are not going to be dropping anytime soon.
You got 26,000 miles.
If you've looked for a new used car lately, you've probably experienced sticker shock. On average, used car prices have risen an unparalleled 17% since last year due to a microchip shortage.
And so many of the new car manufacturers are having a really tough time manufacturing new cars. And so that's driving up the price of new cars and in turn also pulling up the price of used cars.
Used pickup trucks, midsize SUVs, and sports cars are among the highest price increases, making them the worst vehicles to buy, but the best vehicles to sell.
Cars that would have been worth around $15,000 in January today, depending on what type of car it is, it might be worth $17,000 to maybe even close to $20,000. So they've appreciated quite a bit.
A lot of what folks did last year
was travel via car and do road trips and outdoor activities. And I think that there's some continued desire to do that. And so we actually are seeing those SUVs and midsize SUVs continue to really be popular.
Shift.com's Toby Russell says demand is so high that a typically depreciating asset could now be worth more than it was if you drove it off the lot in the last 2 years.
Odds are your car is worth more now than it was 3 or 4 months ago.
Due to that demand, online car dealers like Shift.com and Carvana have seen their booming businesses grow even bigger.
So we've been growing really quickly. In the first quarter, we grew revenues by over 100%.
So now may be the perfect time to put some thought into whether it may be time to buy or sell.
I think it's important to emphasize I did slow down and say Shift.com.
I noticed that.
That's one of those tricky ones. You're like, oh, I can't go right through it. So just double checking everything for everybody. But keep in mind, if you have a car and you're thinking now's the time to sell, you have to replace that car. And if you don't have to replace it, then maybe it is the time to sell. Now, keep in mind, we also reported earlier this year that Kimberly-Clark is raising prices on things like Scott toilet paper and Huggies and pull-ups. That's all happening this month to offset significant costs of inflation. Procter & Gamble is raising prices on items like diapers and feminine products, too. And there are other companies that plan to increase their prices. The reasons range from pandemic-related to delays, to manufacturing issues to rice in demand. My neighbors and I were talking about this. It really seems like everything is just going up and up and up.
And the funny thing is, we've already seen big bumps in the inflation, but most of your leading economists say that these sort of indicators usually lag 2 to 3 months behind.
Yes.
So the real numbers of inflation are probably not coming out until likely June and July, when most experts say they are going to shock all of us. We're paying more for everything across the board. By the way, according to Business Insider, the Consumer Price Index spiked 0.6% in April, and that signals a 4.2% year-over-year jump. So everything's going up, and we're starting to feel it in our wallets. We really are. Well, you're also going to need a lot of money if you want to fly into space. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' rocket ship company Blue Origin is heading into space, and he wants to take someone with him. He and his brother will take off July 20th. That, by the way, is the anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. He's auctioning off a chance for one other person to join them. The current highest bid, $2.8 million. Nearly 6,000 people from 143 countries are trying to win this auction. It ends, by the way, on Saturday. All of the money will go to the Club for the Future, which is the company's education foundation. The capsule is called New Shepard spacecraft. Betsy, it can hold up to 6 people. This flight will kick off Blue Origin's space tourism business. He thinks this is going to be a booming business, and if there's that many people willing to spend tons of money to do it, it probably will be big. Bezos, you may remember, decided to step down as CEO of Amazon. That goes into effect on July 5th. He will, however, stay with the company. He'll be their executive chairman of the board. By the way, what is the difference between CEO and executive chairman of the board? I don't know.
Whatever he wants it to be. It's his company.
He's the boss. He makes the rules. Would you go?
I got to tell you, I'm a little sketchy on private entities.
Are you?
Space travel. Yeah, I've seen too many of the SpaceX capsules not work so hot.
Well, there have been a number of them that have not been successful.
Snafu every now and then. So.
Yeah.
Nothing's guaranteed, but
Betsy will keep her feet on the ground.
I will, actually.
All right, very good.
My mom will be happy.
Yeah, and a lot of others will too. Still ahead on What's New. Stress can cause your hair to fall out. I'm sure you've heard that before, but you may not see the effects until a few months later. We're going to explain why that is, and we'll tell you about the uptick that local doctors have seen in folks losing their hair.
And we have details on the latest athlete to join Jarvis Landry's celebrity softball game this weekend.
Hey, yeah. Mic check. Jarvis Landry's having Odell Beckham Jr. join him on the softball field. Okay.
All right, Matt Wins back in with an update on the weather forecast. You know, yesterday, 88. Today, 82, but it felt like it was 157. Right. Which brings in the old saying, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. And it's a lot of humidity.
That's right, it sure is. And boy, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. You know, one of my favorite things, we're always complaining about the weather, but that's what's so beautiful about Northeast Ohio is we get everything right. One of my favorite things about this time of year is at night. Man, if you get a nice breeze in there and you just go outside, it's just so comfortable. It's sticky, but we're going to have nights like that pretty much all week. And one of the main reasons, it's all about wind flow, and that wind is coming directly out of the Gulf. So you are really transporting Gulf of Mexico air down here, and you're bringing it all the way up towards the Great Lakes. That's why we saw that uptick in humidity last night into today. And that's all courtesy of a low pressure. It's kind of broad. It's not really a compact low. That's bringing and funneling all this rain. And look at all the scattered activity that we've got. Not really a lot of severe weather with this. Most of the severe weather is attached with where that low pressure is, but you can get a couple rumbles around here, and look how it comes in waves. We had one wave move through this morning, another wave moving in now, another one down towards Indianapolis. We'll have to keep an eye on these. Next 2 days, some of that energy will translate, may kick off a couple stronger lines of storms like we saw earlier today. That one long gone, we've cleared out. We've got our next wave moving in here, pretty decent thunderstorms just off the islands here. I said this was going to pass north of Sandusky. It has, but another little shower just to your west. A little bit of lightning with this. Another one going to move in. This will hit Sandusky. Heavy downpours will likely head into the Norwalk area over towards the islands once again, so we're not done there. And then down towards the south, mentioned this might start seeing an uptick in activity. We're seeing that. I would imagine Akron down towards Coventry Township, Portage Lake's going to get some rain here in the next hour with that. Keep an eye on that cell as that continues to further develop. Sticky night though. A couple hit or miss showers and thunderstorms. We're back into the 70s for lows. This right here, colorful map, right? We can actually measure, if we were to wring out the atmosphere, how much moisture that would wring out. Some of these brighter colors, this is called precipitable water. This equals a lot of moisture up above us. In fact, 200% above our normal. And look what happens this week. We stay in that deep moisture. Bottom line, we can get some heavier downpours out of some of this rain. Then we get some relief perhaps late weekend. What's that translate to in terms of shower and thunderstorm coverage? Well, more widespread storms as we look at your National Design Mart big picture look here. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, here's that little low trying to make its way in our direction. But bottom line, this pattern's not changing for the next couple days. In terms of rainfall, we could use it, and it's going to come down heavy. You get enough of these thunderstorms back and forth, we'll certainly have that rainfall. So take a look at how the Waddle's saying how much rain's going to fall. Look at this. Don't look at numbers, look at trend. 2 inches to ½ an inch in spots. So that's how this is going to fall. Not evenly this time of year, right? So hopefully you can get some downpours for your gardens and then not too much. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. Temperatures highly dependent on when we get that rain. We'll be in the 80s the next couple days. There's our break this weekend. A little bit less humidity for the weekend. Still kind of humid around here. And by Monday, Jay, we're talking sun and clouds. It does look like we're going to stay in the summertime pattern. No 40s and no snow, so we're good.
All right, yeah, that's a win, and I'll put in a request for the 2 inches over my yard. Just take it because
your flowers need it.
All right, thank you, Matt. Right now, time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we say our first hello of the week to our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi, Stephanie. Hope you had a great weekend.
Hi, Jay. I did. Thank you. I hope you did, and all of you at home. Now we are taking a look at, for the very first time since his season-ending ACL injury, that's a mouthful, Odell Beckham Jr. will return to the playing field on Saturday. The baseball field, that is. He'll be in Jarvis Landry's celebrity charity softball game. It's a real who's who. OBJ will be joined by Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, David Njoku, and Bernie Kosar, to name a few on the home team. Cleveland native and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce will captain the competition alongside Pittsburgh Steelers Deontay Johnson and Terrell Edmonds. You can get your tickets at the link on WKYC.com. Another week means another roundup of our best restaurants from Doug Tratner, this time in Lorain County. Check out Speak of the Devil Speakeasy, serving craft cocktails with an upscale vibe. Another great option, the Shipyards along the Black River. It's a wedding venue and a restaurant hub where you can get coffee and craft beer. And in Sheffield Lake, on Austin Loeb's recommendation, Doughboy's Pizza. The owner opened up shop when he was just 20 years old. You can see that full list at wkyc.com/saveoursauce. And on the heels of a hot weekend, we want to see what summer means to you here in Cleveland. Share one photo that sums it up with us by texting 216-344-3300. Send it using the WKYC app or post online using #3summer, and I'll get the ball rolling for us. Nothing says summer in Cleveland to me like a beautiful waterfront sunset with Mr. Harry Winston the Puggle. We just cannot get enough of it. So go ahead and send us those photos. Jay, I'll ask you first. What screams summer in Cleveland to you?
A beautiful, warm night at Progressive.
That sounds like the perfect recipe for summer. That is gorgeous, Jay. That's absolutely beautiful. Betsy, what picture sums up summer for you?
Getting out in the nature areas and hunting for crawdads and getting wet in the creek and all that fun stuff. It's Josie and Violet there at Hinckley Reservation. And
girls,
we just love to get out and do stuff.
Girls after my own heart. I love the barefoot summer vibe for sure. That's great.
All right, Stephanie, thank you very much. Still ahead, today marks 10 years since University Hospitals opened its Seidman Cancer Center. Our Jim Donovan was one of its first patients. He opens up about what it was like walking through those doors 10 years ago.
His story is so incredible. Then, pandemic hair loss. Why the side effects might start showing up after the stressful situation is over. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Some of you may remember a story we did almost 2 years ago now about Ashland University head track coach Judd Logan. The four-time Olympian was diagnosed with a deadly form of cancer, but he met that diagnosis head on and is now, I am glad to tell you, officially in remission. Judd has led Ashland to a number of national championships, including one while he was undergoing chemotherapy. I was lucky enough to play in the Logan Family Foundation charity golf tournament today. They raised over $600,000 for local charities over the years holding this event. It was at Congress Lake. We had beautiful weather for the first 9 holes, and then it rained. And I have to say, I've never been more happy that a golf tournament was postponed due to rain because my team was leading. So I kind of backed into that.
You're welcome.
But Judd, we're so glad you're doing well, and his family's just terrific. And we're going to have much more on his story coming up in a feature that we're going to plan for you in the days ahead on What's New. Just an incredible guy. Well, 10 years ago today, University Hospitals opened the Seidman Cancer Center. It's home to some of the most advanced cancer treatments in Ohio and continues to innovate more with continuous research. One of the first patients through its doors was our very own Jim Donovan. He spent a month there while receiving a bone marrow stem cell transplant to treat his chronic leukemia. 10 years later, Jim vividly remembers walking into that building for life-saving treatment.
Literally, they were unwrapping furniture, taking the plastic off, getting the examination rooms ready to go, and unwrapping all of the medical equipment. It was that brand new. It was absolutely amazing. But we were very, very nervous, very scared because my life was taking a really, different turn, and we were hoping that this was going to work.
Jim will share more of his cancer journey and updates us on his health with our Monica Robbins. That's coming up tonight on Front Row at 7 o'clock.
Just such an incredible story. Well, stress can affect your body in so many ways, and one of the most visible impacts can sometimes be seen in hair loss. It's something that both men and women can struggle with, and experts have been seeing increased rates these last few months. Our Jason Fraser breaks down the science of hair loss during the pandemic and what you should know if you're noticing the issue yourself.
There's no doubt that the pandemic left us all feeling stressed.
I think a lot of it was just uncertainty of, it's a new virus, what's going on. People are also stressed about childcare.
But as many of us return back to a new normal, there may be something else happening to you that you may think is abnormal. Hair loss.
It can be very disturbing. Stress-induced hair loss is a phenomenon called telogen effluvium, which we've been seeing for years and decades. It's unique during this time because, it's not just people that are having COVID that we're seeing hair loss.
The dermatologists at the Cleveland Clinic tell us they have been very busy lately because hair loss isn't always an immediate response to stress.
The hair is on a 3-month delay. So what we see today is a result of what happened, 2 or 3 months ago. I've had many patients come in and they said, hey, I had COVID before. 2 or 3 months later, they're now shedding. Other people say, I haven't been sick. I feel okay, but I'm just stressed about life. And we're seeing, shedding that's been going on for months. Definitely an increase in our practice.
So even if you aren't feeling stressed now, your hair could be showing stress you were feeling months ago.
We have the growing phase, the resting phase, and the shedding phase. So at any given time, about 80 to 90% of our hair is in the growing phase. And then, 5% resting, 5% shedding. During this stress-induced hair loss, up to 50% of the hairs can be prematurely shifted into the shedding phase.
So what can you do? Well, it might seem counterintuitive, but try not to worry.
People stress about the hair, so that in itself, creates a vicious cycle. Stress control is important, whether it's through exercise or something else. Eat a well-balanced diet. Make sure you're getting adequate nutrition, take a multivitamin daily.
Experts say that stress-related hair loss usually resolves itself within 6 months. If it goes on for longer, you may want to seek out medical help. Jason Fraser, 3 News.
Is anybody else sitting there going, last summer? That's what I feel like. I had like a dog in the shower with me half of the time, just from all the hair falling out. And I didn't want it to go down the drain because you're going to clog the drain. Sure. So I kind of plastered it on the wall of the shower. And then at the end of my shower, I look and I go, oh no, things are getting really bad here. I'm sure I'm not alone in that, but here's the thing. The Cleveland Clinic says the best ways to ease your stress include regular exercise. As soon as everybody got outside during the summer, that helped a lot. And then reducing how much alcohol and caffeine you drink.
Yeah, they also recommend reducing whatever it is that's causing your stress. Now, in the case of the pandemic, we were immersed in it. We couldn't. That means ask for help when you need it. Set priorities, pace yourself, and this is very important, make time for you. Yeah. Fix you. That's how it works.
Deep breath, everybody. It's all good. Still ahead on What's New. Proof that family isn't just blood. what one teen's work family did to make sure he made it to graduation.
Hey, what's up? Yeah. Check 1, 2, 3. Brandon's microphone. This is what it sounds like outside of Tower City, where we're still talking about flooding.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Laura Queso's mic. Thanks so much.
Hey, Al, how are you? Testing 1, 2. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Russ Mitchell. I'm Laura Queso. You do? What's crazy is I was thinking about you use it so much. Are you noticing it? She's like, no. And her hair is so thick.
I did a little bowl car right here. Not a good place for it.
Hey. Okay.
I could not find another bite from that guy.
This is kind of all over the place here.
So frustrating. Okay, these videos are really good.
Yeah, who's this?
Monica.
Oh, get the heck out of here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
How are you?
Today's show is something good comes from Alabama when Timothy did something really cool.
Today's show is something good comes from Alabama. So listen to this. When Timothy Harrison's co-workers at Waffle House found out he decided to work instead of attend graduation, they teamed up to get him to the ceremony. They went to the store, got him some dress clothes, a tie, picked his cap and gown up, and then they drove him across town just in time for him to get his diploma. His story doesn't stop there. Lawson State Community College there in Alabama offered Timothy a free ride with books included. That's a 2-year community college, so they really gave him a big gift.
I think that would make a great short movie.
Huge.
Like a 10-minute movie. Awesome story. We're out of time. We're back tomorrow at 5. We hope you join us again then.
What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, setting the record straight. A new report says those who've had COVID don't need the vaccine, but it's a bit more complicated. We talked to the Cleveland Clinic doctors who wrote the story. Also, Alzheimer's drug approved. It is the first new drug to treat the disease in nearly 2 decades. Why the FDA is fast-tracking it, even though experts disagree on how well it works. Case closed. A Cleveland woman convicted in several hit and runs is sentenced. We'll hear what the victim said in court today. And trouble at Tower City. A pipe burst causes massive flooding on the main floor, affecting businesses and residents.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Laura Queso.
We begin tonight with a Cleveland Clinic study already raising controversy that natural immunity to COVID-19 may be as good as